Welcome to Info Ocean.
Hey movie buffs! Welcome back to another episode where we dive deep into the latest releases and uncover the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Today, we're diving into the murky waters of Blumhouse's Fantasy Island, a film that promised thrills and chills but delivered something quite different. Spoiler alert. This ride is anything but a paradise. If you were expecting a tropical getaway filled with suspense and horror, you might want to brace yourself for a different kind of shock. Let's start with Richard Roeper from the Chicago Sun-Times, a critic known for his sharp insights and no-nonsense reviews. He called the film inane and contrived, a harsh but telling critique that sets the tone for what many others felt. Roeper said it feels like someone planted about a half-dozen different scripts all over this fantasy island. Ouch! Imagine a movie trying to be everything at once and failing at all of it. But wait, it gets worse, much worse. Peter Travers from Rolling Stone gave the film 0 out of 5 stars. He wrote, "If crimes against cinema merited prosecution, Blumhouse's Fantasy Island would go directly to death row." Yikes, that's a brutal takedown if there ever was one. Travers also added, "The only genuine blood-curdling scream incited by this stupefyingly dull time and money waster comes at the end, when the notion dawns that the film is meant to spawn sequels. Can you imagine sitting through this and realizing there might be more? Stop it now before it kills again. That's some serious shade." Travers didn't hold back, and neither did the audience. And Peter Subsinski of RogerEbert.com, he wasn't any kinder. His review was another nail in the coffin for this ill-fated film. He said the film contains less raw terror in its entirety than Sonic the Hedgehog during any 5 minutes of its running time. That's a comparison that stings. He called it utterly boring and no sane person's fantasy of a half-decent movie. When a horror movie is described as boring, you know something went terribly wrong. Looks like Fantasy Island didn't exactly have critics living in a dream. Instead, it turned into a nightmare for both viewers and reviewers alike. Even Benjamin Lee of The Guardian chimed in, giving the film 2 out of 5 stars. A slightly more generous rating, but still far from a glowing endorsement. He described it as an odd attempt at genre surfing that ends up well out of its depth. A film that tries to be everything and ends up being nothing. Oof, that's a tough pill to swallow for any filmmaker. So what went wrong? How did a film with so much potential end up being such a disaster? Was it the convoluted plot, the lackluster scares, or perhaps the characters that failed to resonate with the audience? Or maybe, just maybe, the idea of turning a beloved TV show into a horror movie was doomed from the start. The original Fantasy Island was a classic, and perhaps some things are better left untouched. But hey, don't just take my word for it. Everyone's a critic, and your opinion might differ. If you haven't seen Fantasy Island yet, you might want to watch it yourself, if only to see how bad it really is. Sometimes, experiencing it firsthand is the only way to truly understand the criticism. You might want to watch it yourself, if only to see how bad it really is. Or, save your time and watch something else. There are plenty of other films out there that are worth your time. Save your time and watch something else. Life's too short for bad movies, right? So, there you have it. Fantasy Island, a film that promised much but delivered little. A cautionary tale for filmmakers and a lesson for audiences. Fantasy Island, the worst movie ever? I'll let you decide. After all, one person's trash is another person's treasure. Don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts, and let me know in the comments what you thought of Fantasy Island. Did you love it, hate it, or fall somewhere in between? Subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought of Fantasy Island. Until next time, happy watching! And remember, the next great film might be just